We spoke about the five whys, where, why, what, etc., etc. Again, a simple mnemonic. It's not prescriptive. It's just a way for you to start thinking about it, and we'll again revisit it. So your capstone project, when you think through this, all of these will be revisited, but now you will be also asked, or you should think about a lot, whatever product that you think, as to how do we start using these, and maybe even figure out if did we let anything fall through the cracks. Are there some of those questions that we did not answer? This None of these frameworks, etc., are going to be ever perfect ever. You will continue to evolve them, right? What should be the motions? Also think about it, these motions that we spoke about, all the six product led and this and that and the other, all of them are getting answered in those five W's. Remember that. So all of these are, it's just a way for you to go deeper into some aspects of it and be very intentional about choosing those. But they are getting answered in any case. What is the menu from which you should choose? Should be other frameworks like this, where you think about how should you prioritize, which one is the motion which actually can give you a lot of scale. Like I said, end of it all, you'll be mature. And in fact, most of the mature companies only differ from the startups in one big way. The fact that they have not just a playbook, but a very mature playbook for it, right? Now, is it essentially a great thing? It's absolutely a must, but it should definitely be flexible enough to adapt to the changes which are happening. And that is the biggest problem as to why startups come about and start competing head on with large corporates. Because large corporates have a playbook that is so ingrained that to come out of it, it's extremely difficult. I'll not say you should come out of it at any point in time, but to even make changes to the existing playbook, that's very, very difficult. Imagine a company having 1,000 people. The 1,000 person who enters has a very different notion of what the company is all about as compared to the first 100 hires. And that's when you have a large team. And this even happens, even if there is a team of 10 people, the 10th guy will have a very different perception. And guys, when I say guy, it also means girls. Yeah, so extremely, uh, I'm, I'm pretty neutral about it. So just bear me out. Um, and the reason why I'm even conscious about it is because my daughter gives me hell the moment I start saying this, and she's a true blue feminist. And unfortunately, I have to bear the brunt of it. Right? I have two women in my place. Okay, so in any case, so creating that playbook. And one interesting bit is, and I think I'll encourage you to, I mean, if at all you have some time on you, uh, there is an article that I and my partner had published about, and again, I think I'd spoken about it last time. It speaks about how ERPs have, so earlier there was everything was on around ERPs and everything was inside it. Few years back, everything started disaggregating, or unbundling of those ERPs happened, and you had multiple small little solutions which took the place of one function of an ERP. Like account receivables management was us, right? I mean, at least we would like to think of us as early movers in that space. Similarly, other things happen. So all these fintechs started replacing many functions of the ERP. And then those functions themselves started getting intertwined amongst each other. Because suddenly one thing has a payment gateway, the other thing has a payment gateway, etc. The story kept on and on and on and on, kept on changing. Which meant that if an ERP or an SAP, somebody like an SAP had to survive, they had to not to, now all these solutions, because they were very tiny, they were only looking at one small problem, they could be very deep, unlike an ERP. And this exactly was our story when we went on against an ERP saying, hey, your ERP cannot do anything all alone. It needs to be on steroids. We are that steroid, right? At least when it comes to receivables management. And that is continuing to get disrupted in a big way, not just with AI, but when the different types of fintechs themselves are merging with each other. So that because of the technology, right? And that, again, is something that the way your playbooks are crafted, they immediately will have to see a reinvention, right? Whether you need an SDR or not, whether you need a BDR or not. I'm not saying the need itself is going to go, but the way the evolution is changing, maybe a couple of roles might get combined. Let's say the demos typically in usually large companies, the demos are given separately. Let's say sales guys don't give demos. There is a pre-sales team. No more. That is no more an option. As we even speak, I know our sales guys were giving demos, but within other organizations, including Chari, they were not. But then now, because of the sales-led motion, and you are trying to move enterprise wide, you're trying to go to and woo larger companies, your sales guys don't have more number of meetings, which means if they get one, they better talk about the product also. And this is happening all across most of the SaaS products, which are selling to larger corporates or have larger mid-size to large corporates. They are seeing this massive change. And then when AI coming in, there is no excuse anyways, right? So a bit of addition to whatever that we did. I mean, this is experimentation is something more at an organizational level. Even when you're working for yourself, make sure that you are clued into everything that is happening around you, right? If you're not reading the Ken, you should start reading the Ken. I mean, it's just an example, or anything else that gets your goat. You should be aware of what is happening around in the ecosystem. So if you're an edtech, does not mean that you should not know about fintech or anything else. You have to, because ultimately, most of these the news that you read, which are slightly deeper in nature, they are more about business models and practices and less about the domain knowledge of that area. So you should subscribe to many of these places. Uh, there is enough and more of such things already there. YouTube, there is a guy who runs this thing called GrowthX, and again, which actually go and in an animation and with multiple interviews, they kind of disaggregate the business model itself and makes you understand a lot. And even today, I use it for at least even before I prepare for a meeting. I want to know a little bit more than what is published, and hence many of these channels definitely go about it, right? The other thing, there are multiple things that you can do. You can, if you have enough and more, then you can actually go to MCS site and download their, even if you are private limited, you can download their balance sheets and do a whole lot of work. But that's when you really need to. You should not be doing that forever, but enough and more research should be there, because that's one experiment that you'll constantly do, learn, and maybe see whether it is working or not. Maybe it helps you stand out from the crowd. But experiment